Hi, my name is Aaron Bielefeldt. I am an owner and manager of CrossFit Fair Oaks Ranch, and this is how I live my work.
Hi, welcome to Living the Work.
Hi.
I'm so happy to be here with you. So we're going to start direct with the questions.
Perfect.
And I would love if you could share with us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Yeah. All right, so my name is Aaron Bielefeldt, and I own one of the owners of CrossFit Fair Oaks Ranch. Mm-hmm. So I'm a CrossFit gym owner as far as like profession. I have a wife, Brooke, who we just had our 17-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
On last Saturday, and I've got two kids. I've got Luke, my son is 12, and Clara, my daughter, is 9. She'll be 10 here in about a month. So I've got two little ones. Grew up in San Antonio. Went to school elsewhere. Came back to San Antonio. Moved back to the area. That's where I met my wife. Got involved with, like I said, got married 17 years ago. Got involved shortly after that with CrossFit, and opened up my first gym in 2013, and had that gym for a number of years. That gym, I'm proud, is still functioning and going, just someone else, but I helped start that, and so it's still thriving and doing well. So I'm proud of that. And then opened here a little bit before that changed hands. Opened here in 2018, okay. And so CrossFit Fair Oaks Ranch, the current gym that I own and run day to day, has been here since 2018. So we've been here for over 7 years now. But other than that, from a personal standpoint, I'm huge into fitness. I'm a sports fanatic, love all sports, love watching sports, love coaching sports, coaching my kids, coaching my kids' friends, being involved, fairly active lifestyle, just big time family, love to be with my family. I live in the area, I love this area, love Bernie, moved to Bernie right before we opened up this gym. That was one of the cool things about moving to the area, is kind of as this gym has grown, my family's grown within this area, and so we've got to kind of just grow together, and so it's been really cool. And now it's like where my family's roots are. It's all my kids really know, so I'm really proud to be a part of the community.
That's amazing. Through pandemic and through all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a hard time, but
how was that? Did you go virtual too, or?
We did. So when it happened, we kind of had to pivot and do some things like a lot of gyms did.
Yeah.
And looking back, it was kind of weird, but it's just owning a business is weird, like
yeah.
It's just, all of it's just can be very weird. And so figuring things out and understanding, but people were great, and I'm happy to say that we actually grew after.
Oh.
So like our membership, once we started going back into not having to do virtual, I think it had a real impact on people from a standpoint of health because of what went on. And I think a lot of people realized how much they needed to be in a gym with other people.
Yeah.
I think the interaction of like just not only physical fitness, but physical interaction while you're working out, the motivation, you understand how that is, having someone else there. It's hard to work out by yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think going through that, it for a lot of people, it made them realize and feel like this was so important. So it added, I think, a lot of value to what we do and who we are. And so I'm happy to say that we've continue to grow even at that point. And I know maybe not in our area or here, but a lot of gyms didn't make it out of that. And so I'm blessed, and I think we're all blessed and just very fortunate that we were able to kind of
pivot.
Yeah, pivot, grow, get into a better space than where we were before.
Yeah. No, so. I mean, that's what I'm really into sports too, and I love fitness all my life. Like everything, every sport, like doing it more than watching. But CrossFit, I fell in love. Like the moment it started in Mexico, I think it was 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I started doing it, and I'm like, this is the perfect mix. Like it's challenging.
Yeah.
But it's it's a community, and it's like intense, and you see results. I always did it carefully too, because I like to take care of my body, and like I want to be a long life athlete.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I do this for love, for the passion of it. So I've been into a couple of CrossFits here in San Antonio and all over the place, in Cancun and different places. But I really, when I came, I was like surprised about, the way everybody, is about each other, the community that you guys built, the organization, the setup, the programming. It's painful, but it's amazing.
That's good.
And that's why I admire about what you guys have accomplished and you, because I feel like it's not easy, like you're saying, owning a business. It's not easy following your passion and in the gym industry. I feel like even after the pandemic, it's hard for people to see. We shouldn't have to convince people to do and take care of themselves or invest on fitness, but it somehow, it has a mind game that you guys do so well in here. Like, you don't have to like sell yourselves, you just like bring people in and you see results and you feel the support and you feel the guidance. So that's what I love about CrossFit, but then about this one, like you guys do it so good.
And I think a big thing about it is that we've got such a wide variety of individuals that do this. I mean, I've got, my kids can do it, my mom does it, and then we've got all ages. I mean, you've seen the variety of people that we have come in. And so what got me into it so much is being a former athlete competitively. I didn't get into it to do it that way, but it definitely like fed the need for me to be pushed and do things like what I was used to. And so that's what drew me into it. And then what really drew me into it was understanding that it's not just for someone necessarily that has my background, right? Where I do have a little bit more of the competitive sports background. It can be done by everyone. And so I think that's what really hooked me on it, was that, hey, this can be modified, this can be changed, this can be appropriately adjusted based off of the individual, regardless of where they're at. And so I just tell people all the time, look, I know it's hard and it's not easy, but it's an hour a day. We try to make it like your best hour. But all you got to do is just show up. Like, if you show up, you're going to do the stuff, right? It's just getting in. So I admire people for just showing up, especially ones that don't have maybe your background, where you played sports, where you did that. So it's like one of those things where it's like, if people could just see how easily we can modify and adjust things, it's just showing up and doing it. And so I admire people that don't have that experience or don't have that level of just like comfortable with what we had playing sports and being maybe physically fit our entire life. So I get really motivated by people that didn't have that background, but now are making that their lifestyle.
That you see the change.
You can see change.
They're not scared anymore.
No, exactly. And they've done something that initially was really scary. It wasn't real scary for me to get started. I was looking for anything and everything I could to like push me and do different, right? And so it's like, that was fine for me, but that's not fine for everyone.
Everybody,
Exactly. And so that's the goal, is like, I want everyone that comes in to get a good workout, whether it's a really elite athlete or strong athlete and someone who's not. So it's finding that good balance. And so I'm really fortunate to have coaches that have the same mindset and understand and really care about people and don't push things that shouldn't be pushed upon people, and know how to scale and know how to coach people correctly. So we've got a really good group of coaches that understand that. So I had the question on what do you love the most about what you do, but I think you answered a bit of that right now. Right there. Yeah, I definitely I love help. I mean, of course I love helping people. I like to see people grow. I'm like anyone else, where I need extra motivation sometimes to get certain points and things that happen. And so it's like having individuals that I see do things where it's like, it's not as easy for them to do things, and they keep showing up. And so that motivates me, is to keep the community, like, I just kind of want to be here, make sure everything runs smoothly, make sure it's a safe environment, a clean environment, that there's no drama, that everyone can cohesively work together. And so then it's just kind of me staying out of the way, but making sure that everyone's has the opportunity and the ability to do this. And so for me, I need that interaction with people, and I need to have all of that for myself. So it's like, for me, that's the part that I love, is to see that people get to meet each other, and people that you would have never maybe had a relationship with, you can have that here, all the while we're like moving toward kind of the same or similar goal, where we're all trying to be physically fit and strong. And so I want people to be able to do this or something like this or something as they get older. And so I think that's a real issue nowadays, where just in general people wait too long to try to get started on something, or maybe don't get started on something. And so it's how can we create sort of reverse of where our society looks at things. And so it's, you don't have to wait too long to start. You can start. And so but also helping people to understand it's never going to be a great time. You're always going to have an excuse not to do it. So it's like, hey, if you can start this now, you can change the rest of your life. You literally can. So that stuff motivates me and pumps me up to think about people making those kind of changes, because what does that affect if it's a mom or a dad? Them making that change, what does it do for their child, their children? How does that motivate others around them to see it? All it takes is just a little bit of a spark. And so it just kind of generates that way where you get, a good group of people together and they see other people like themselves doing stuff like this, and they realize that it could be such a cool effect, bigger than just within yourself. And
you guys are the perfect example, because how do you manage? So we own a business, and like you're saying, it can be complex. Like 100%. It's not easy at all. And it's a perfect excuse sometimes also to leave yourself behind, and kind of your health gets compromised, or your family, or like you're saying, you have a family, you have kids, so you want to set up an example, but you also have a business to take care of, but you also have to take care of yourself. You're an athlete. So you are fit, your wife is fit, your kids are into fitness. How do you do it?
I think a lot of it just comes from consistency, being really consistent with what you do, and just also understanding that it's like a long-term thing. And so my mindset is that I'm just not in this for the short term. Yeah, we have ups and downs where I'm in a season of things not going great, and then I'm a season where things are amazing, where everything's going smoothly. I'm sleeping really well, I'm eating really well, everything's perfect, I'm training amazing. And there's other times where I don't feel like those things are necessarily happening. And so the consistency is just try to get a certain amount done and just be happy with what I can get done. The other part about what helps me with this is that I've got some good individuals, whether it's the coaches or some of the people that help on the back end of the business, to take a lot of those stresses off. And those are things that one of the things I've learned is having others, is you can only go so far with yourself, by yourself. And so, and so you've got that. I'm sure you've got a team of people that do things. I think any successful business is going to have people that are fit for, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and I understand that. And for a long time, I didn't want to admit certain weaknesses and things. I think that's just a little bit of ego that can happen. But the further I've gotten into this and understanding some of the things I've learned, and so just having people that are just has the back of the business, has the understanding that this is gonna, hey, I'm really strong suited to do this, or I'm strong suited to do that, and let them kind of run with that role is super helpful. Because then it's I can burn myself out. I can get to the point where I'm good for 6-8 weeks of just hard, and then I need a month where I'm man, who wants to buy this gym?
And
I'm joking. I'm joking, but it's it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's hey, you got to find that good mix and that good balance. And I think that's just life in general. We all go through things where it's whatever, and so it's how do I limit how much of that burnout? And so it's no different. And I think a lot of people think, oh, you own a gym and you get to work out all the time, and you get to do this. Man, it's not as easy, and it definitely does take some discipline, because for many people, this is their safe space. This is the place where you can come in, your hour, your day, where you get away from all of that out there. Well, this is my safe space too, but
you see all the other things that people don't
and then
see.
I got to be here coaching for a number of hours or doing things, and it can be some days where it's just I just got to turn on the timer and just start. And it may not be perfect, and it may not be what I wanted to do that day or whatever, but I just got to do something to sweat and let my mind. And so for me, it's just being consistent and know that, okay, you just got to do this, even if it's not what you expect out of yourself or what you think you should be doing, right? It's just doing something and moving. And so you always feel better after a workout. You always feel better when you move and sweat. And
that's the part that it's so interesting to me that I'm saying about your family. It's for me, I was telling you a little bit ago, I always was interested on maybe since I loved sports and fitness, I was whoa, I can live from that. And so I started doing some certifications, and I wanted to have a gym and stuff like that. But then I started seeing that I would teach the class, but I wouldn't do the workout. And I'm no, hold it.
That's not what I signed up for.
No, I like to work out. I like to run. I like to, and that's you're saying, that's my time. That's my enjoyment, and that's I love it in every sense. So I'm I'm gonna take that away and I'm gonna give it to someone else. But do I want to give it to someone else? Yeah. So it was confusing to me. How would you balance? Because I would see my coaches and they would be like, I mean, the profile of a coach, it's not necessarily your profile or the coaches in here.
Yeah.
Like it's a different profile because you're the strategy behind the athlete. So you don't need to look a certain way or take care of yourself in a certain way. I mean, that's the way it's, I think, in general in all sports. But whoever does manage to do it, it's like respect. Because I mean, how?
Well, and yeah, I think you're right. I think it's very commendable because it can be challenging and it can be tough. For me, I find that makes it, like, not every day is this way, but there's been many times, especially when I'm training for something very specific, where I have to look at it as like, I need to be able to have my own headspace. And so I honestly will prefer at those times not to work out with someone else because I'm emotionally involved and invested into the classes and all that. And so I almost need some internal dialogue and I need with myself to go through. And so by having that ability to, be by myself, do my thing, it helps me because if I can mentally push through that, it helps me for other moments and other things. And so sometimes I just need to, like, I'm one of those people that's probably an introvert, extrovert kind of deal. I'm great being an extrovert, but when I have to for an extended period of time, I want to bring it inside, right, and bring it back. And so I think that allows me to have that sort of space to be able to do that, to where then I can come back out and do it. We're back and put back on what I need to give to what the class needs or what the gym needs or whatever.
You need the time for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've always worked out by myself. I do appreciate when others work out, but it's never been like an issue for me. But a lot of that comes from I need that away from that energy of like being outward, and now I want to bring it back in.
And that's pretty personal, I think.
It is.
From people to people. I think like some people like to be with someone, and some other are like, no, I'm fine with my time and my space, and both options are okay. Like, you just need to.
It's a vulnerable
set
time.
It up.
Yeah,
like,
it can be very vulnerable, and so I think a lot of it is just keeping it where I need that time for myself.
Knowing yourself to know what you need, if it's either one or the other.
Exactly.
So, and that's part of like my next question is like, how do you build, because you have been like a professional athlete. You are a professional athlete. Yes, you are. How do you build the mental strength in order to succeed or like get a chance to compete as an elite athlete? Because I mean, you've been in the CrossFit Games.
Yes.
How?
I appreciate doing this for a long time. Consistency.
No, but
I know, but that's a big part of it, right? I know what you're getting. I have a very strong athletic background, right?
Okay.
And so that is a big part of it, right? Playing competitive sports, has been such a big part, and so the ability to be able to, because of the sports I played, a lot of the mental capacity that's involved, I think I have a pretty good idea of what that looks like, what I need to do and how I need to do that. So a lot of what I do when it comes to that stuff is how I psychologically prepare for things, right? And so you can push yourself really hard and you can do a lot of the physical stuff, and you do that, it's great, but if you don't have the mental game down, and a lot of that comes from if I'm being consistent. If I know I'm being consistent, and if I know I'm being regimented, if I know that I'm gonna be able to put all those pieces together, then my mind knows that I'm ready. But if it doesn't, my mind doesn't. So I've got it's just that little game that I play, and I'm sure there's other athletes especially that talk about that. How do I talk about internal stuff, but for me that's so big. It's just, how do I continue to be consistent to give myself that confidence? And so that's what motivates me, is that if I'm not putting in that time, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to move or to do the things that I want to do, and so I've got to put that time in. And so it's like me just having that dedication within myself. And then I love to be able to sort of motivate. I'm not going to ask you guys to do a lot of the stuff that I myself wouldn't do, right? To a degree. I'm not going to ask you to maybe train the way that I train all the time, but I do the workouts that you guys do more or less, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell you guys to do this, and me myself is not going to do that, or has the capability to do that. And so for me, it's motivating in the sense that if I'm going to truly ask individuals to trust me, other coaches are that way, for coaches to trust me, for me to trust coaches, we've got to be able to do that stuff ourselves. And so that's I think an important trait, an important characteristic. I've got 2 kids that motivate, where I want them to they're proud of me. It's not, I want them to be proud of me. I know my kids are proud of me, but there's a level of where, hey, that's my dad. That's, you know, that's someone that, so it's like I want to make them feel like it's things that they can accomplish and they can do because I'm doing those things.
Okay.
Whether or not how important that is to other people, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's something that they know is important to me.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's something cool that I can give to them. But it's just all around, it's just motivating that I know that people maybe look up to me in some degree and that I hold some sort of standard. I like that, right? It's cool. That,
you worked for it.
Exactly, it's cool. And I like to do the hard things. It's easy to do the stuff that everybody else does. It's really hard to do the stuff that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah, the 1%,
and that's,
2%, what?
Yeah, like it's easy to go get fast food. It's easy, you know, to do this or do that. It's easy to not go to bed at this time or wake up at this time. It's hard to do the opposite of that.
Exactly.
So there's something.
Did you learn that as a kid, or?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. My parents are both, you know, very dedicated. They were both athletes in what they did.
Oh, really?
And to some degree, yeah. But just my dad coached me through sports. My mom was a teacher. So there's a little bit of that. I probably get some of that from them. Yeah. A lot of that from them. But yeah, just consistency and just realizing what you like and what you don't like, and just being consistent. And if you want it, you're gonna have to work for it. Exactly. So.
And then how do you balance, like you were saying, your kids? Like I feel like for us too, it's we want them to look up to us. We want to show them, and this project is part of that. I want to show them that they can do things, that they can accomplish anything, that they can have a balance in their life, be successful, have a great economy, whatever that means for them, because it's different, and then also be taking care of themselves, have a good family. No matter what happens outside, no matter what other people are doing, you can have your own setup, and I'm trying to show that it's doable within you guys. So I guess for my last question, it would be, how do you balance it out on, like, you know, let's say a successful day that you would say, or a week that you do with your kids, your wife, you know, like you're saying, the commitment of the gym, waking up, doing all the things?
Well, I think a lot of that is that I'm fortunate to have, first, my wife that's understanding that my schedule sometimes isn't going to always be the same, because just the schedule, the way the gym goes, and so she's very flexible on that. And so I do know then that the moments that we have together have to be very important and very direct, right? You just have to be like, hey, this is understanding. And then there's gonna be times where things are a little bit better, where we have more time. I've learned to balance out the life stuff a whole lot better. And I think that's made me better in here, because for a long time, before kids, when I was really pushing for certain things, especially when it came to this, it was a lot easier to do that. But it makes you prioritize things a little bit better. But I think that also helped me, because it made me, you know, hey, that I can do these things and I can accomplish certain things, but nothing still beats being a dad and being a husband and having my kids there and being very fortunate to have those things. And so it definitely changes your perspective. So I think a lot of it is for that perspective of understanding, like, hey, we may not have always the amount of time I want, but I'm going to cherish and value the time that we do have.
To make it intentional.
Make it very intentional. And then just quality time. But I've also just learned how to figure out ways between like sacrificing certain things even within here if I need to, because it's going to make me feel like a better person overall. So if my morale's better, if my attitude's better, all those things are better, then it's actually going to benefit me even here. Exactly. Even though I think that it's not, it's like I'm not spending enough time. Exactly. Guilty, or just my but I've put in a long time and a lot of work doing a lot of things to set up towards, like, the base and the foundation is there, whether it's within the business or whether it's in myself with the way I athletically or physically or whatever. So I'm not too far off. And so for me, it's like that's there. But now the kids are getting older. I'm realizing so much more that I have as far as just being able to, hey, I don't have maybe a lot of time left, and so I've got to really just cherish and commit to those times and those moments.
It flies by, right?
It does. It flies by, but it's awesome. And the kids come in here. They're in here. They understand what this is. They get it. So I think they're proud of me, and I think that they like to see the gym and myself do well.
That's amazing. I think you guys have done or do an amazing job. I'm so happy you know, being here and part of your community.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it because
You're crazy because you go to 5:15 and that's 5:15 a.m. and that's a whole nother world, and a lot of respect to you and your group. It's a pretty crazy thing. It's
you know, you have more hours. Like you're saying, you're an entrepreneur. You have a business. You need all the hours.
All the hours you can get. Absolutely.
But thank you so much for what you do. You are an admirable family.
Oh, thank you.
And I appreciate and I'm blessed to be part of this community.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, and I appreciate the words. Thank you.
Thank you.